We have a start page here. The first thing we want to do is, you see under the start page, this is new project. Go ahead and click that. Then we want to click console application, and under the name we just want to make it Hello World, and then click OK. And let's just give it a minute to load up. Okay, here we go. We are loaded up. Now, I don't want to focus too much on the actual Visual Studio, the programming interface. We're just going to focus on the code right now. The only thing I want you to do is go to View, Other Windows, then click Error List, and that's going to bring up this window down here. And basically what this does, it will show you any of the errors that happen when compiling the program or during runtime, and it will give you the line number where the error happens. It's basically for tracking errors, and it's great for larger programs. Now, what we want to focus on is up here. I'll go ahead and just magnify this. By default, the Visual Studio created a module file for us. Now, this is the contents that were automatically generated by Visual Studio. Just ignore the numbers over here on the side. Those are basically just line numbering. They are not a part of the program. Now, the first line here, it says module. That's just telling the compiler what type of file this is. It's a module file. The next to it, you see module 1. That's just the name of the file. Now, if you skip down to the end, it says end module, and basically that just tells the compiler there's nothing more to see here. The module is over, nothing more to read. Now, in the middle here, you see it says sub main. Now, sub is short for subroutine. And basically that is a block of code that is executed. And the actual name of the code will be main. Now, some programmers, they use other terms for it, such as methods, things like that, or just routines. I usually use methods or routines myself, but just basically sub is referring to a block of code. And you see here it's the same setup. You have end sub on this line. That's just telling the compiler, okay, this block of code is ended. There's nothing more. Now, main, this is actually an important part of programming. Main is the entry point to any application, and this is fairly it's universal with any programming language. C++, C, C#, Java, they all enter the application at main. So they're going to search for the routine main once it's loaded into the compiler, and it's going to start execution from there. So I'm just going to go ahead and create a couple of blank spaces here, just for the visuals. Don't worry about the blank spaces in your program. All these blank lines are just ignored by the compiler. And so in the main block of code, we're going to write just one line of code. We'll put system.console and .writeLine. Then we're going to put a couple brackets here. In between that, we're going to put quotation marks, and in the quotations we're going to type hello world. Alright, so this one command here, basically what this is saying is it's a console command that's telling the console application to write a line. So it's going to print out the string of text here that we have in between the quotation marks. It says hello world. You can put whatever you want in there. I'm just going to do the traditional hello world. Okay, so what we're going to do now is we are going to compile the program and see how it works. So let me zoom out here. Okay, now there's two ways to compile the program. In Visual Studios, you can press this green button right here and it will start debugging, or you can press F5. Now, since we are running console application with just one line of code, we actually want to run this in debug mode. To do debug mode, you do Control and F5. So we'll do Control F5. It's going to load up our application, and there we go. There's a console window, and you see right here it printed out on the line hello world. And after that, it says press any key to continue. In debug mode, it will pause after the block of code is executed. And we'll go ahead and press any key, and as you see, it just closes the application there. Now, what's important here, I'm just going to run it normally and press F5, and it's just going to zip through right out the line and then close it. You see, you can't even see it. It just cycles through the program so fast. So that's the reason we are using debug mode, is to get the pause in there so you can actually see what the application's doing. I'm going to run it one more time, And there we go. Like I said, it's a real simple command. It's going to tell the compiler, hey, we're going to print out this string of text, and so it prints hello world, and then once we're done, we just press the key, and it's the program is over. So there you go. It's a fairly simple, like I said, it's a basic program. This is just to, like I said, introduce you to the Visual Studios. And actually what I'm going to do next is we're going to run a command line version of this as well, so you can see what's going on behind the scenes. But basically all we did is, like I said, we entered into the program, it ran the main routine, and we only have one actual line of code here really. It says console, we want to write a line. And it writes a line to the console. Now we're going to add a second line of code here. I'm going to do system.console.readKey, then press enter. And what we need to do is let's just copy this text. So we'll highlight it and click Control-C or just copy. I'm going to close the Visual Basic Express, just discard the project. And let's go to Start menu and open up our Notepad, or any simple text editor will work, and let's paste that in there. Now let's save this file. I'm going to save it in my Documents folder. I'm going to save it as module1.vb. Okay, and it's important to do the spelling correct. As in module 1, you want to save it as the actual name of the module file. So you want to make sure the M in module is capitalized. So make sure you save it as module1.vb and make sure the M is capitalized. And we'll click Save. Yes, I already had that file there. I need to replace it. Let's just minimize that and bring up the Documents folder. Okay, and let me get rid of this extra file. Now, here you see the module 1 file. If you just left click on it, and then you look in the information tab at the bottom, it says, yes, this is a VB file. That's the type. Now, this file actually can't do anything. It's not an application yet, and we are going to process that into an application. So let's go to All Programs. Under the Start menu, go back to the Microsoft Visual Studio Express folder and click Visual Studio Command Prompt. Now let's go back to the Document folder. We're going to click on the Properties, right-click and click Properties of the Module 1 document, and we're going to select the location here, and I'm just going to copy that. Then let's go back to the Command Prompt, and let's type in CD space. CD is short for Change Directory. Then we're just going to right click and paste the location of the file in there, and we just change the directory to the documents where the actual module is located. Now we are going to run the compiler and actually create an executable, an application that can be run on the computer. So we do vbc.exe, that is short for Visual Basic Compiler, then .exe is short for execute. It's going to execute the Visual Basic Compiler. Then we do a space, and we're going to type the name of the VB module. So we're going to do module1.vb, then press enter. And there you go. It ran successfully. There's no errors. So let's go ahead and minimize that. And now you see here, it just produced a new file. And if you left click this file and you look under the information tab at the bottom of the browser, it says this is an application file. And basically this is what's going on behind the scenes in Visual Studios. It will run the compiler for you. It sets default options and things like that according to how you have it set. And it'll produce the actual application file for you. It even groups your files and into folders and categorizes them. So it does a lot of stuff for you. And this is just so you have an idea of what's going on behind the scenes. Now there's one more thing here to look at. When you the actual module 1, this application file, is not actual native machine code. What this is, it's called a Microsoft Intermediate Language File, or MSIL for short. And this is actually built on top of the .NET framework. And this file can be read by the .NET framework compiler. And what it'll do once you run the application, the compiler will take and copy the code into its memory and convert it into native machine code that the machine can read. So there actually is an extra step involved in the application process when you're using Visual Basic. It does not go directly to native code. Instead, it's going to compile into the .NET framework and then into an intermediate language file. And then that file can be read by the .NET framework and turned into native code. And so that's a little behind the scenes. I'm going to go ahead and double click the Module 1 application, and you see it's going to do the same thing. It brings up the Hello World console, and you see it printed out the Hello World. Now the second line in here, let me bring back up the notepad I added in, was the system.console.read key. One other thing to note here is the Visual Studio actually does all the capitalization and the punctuation for you. It's one other good part. So if there's any errors as you go along, it'll read it line by line and tell you, hey, this keyword's not spelled correctly or something like that, which is just far superior, of course, to writing it as per se with the notepad, which I have now. Now back to the read key. Off the read key command, it's going to tell the console application we're waiting for user input. So the console application now is waiting for me to enter something, then it's going to continue on after I've entered some sort of data from input, which is generally the keyboard. So I'm just going to press a random key here, and as you see, the application closes. It read the key and then executed the next line, which is nothing, so it just closes the program, and the application successfully executed. Okay, so that is basically it. That's what I wanted to show you. This is a little bit behind the scenes.